from the Radio What Studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know, I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. I'm feeling jovial after a long day of work. My goodness, it's good to be here with you on the What Makes You Smarter podcast, filling my head with knowledge, filling your head with knowledge, keeping up on current events more than anything else, at least lately. I know I need to expand this What Makes You Smarter podcast a little bit and go over some little topics that have been getting penned down. Every time I think of something, wow, I'd like to know more about that. I think, well, maybe I should do a podcast about it. Possibly. But other things get in the way. Other things happen, and other things focus my attention. So the What Makes You Smarter podcast has been current events mainly. This week's shows, well, I believe I'll be back at the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas. They have been cleaning house for the last couple of weeks, and they assured me a couple of weeks ago that they would be open back up on this Wednesday, just in time for the Thursday karaoke jam. Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas. It's my newest public show. It's 21 and over on the party patio where they have the karaoke jam. But if you like to bring your family for some good food, they have a nice restaurant, and you could bring the whole family in the inside. And the party patio is where, you know, we have a little adult fun. Not too crazy. I mean, it is only Thursday. We're starting the weekend early and all, but you've already had a hard week after Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, it's good to let loose a little bit. So Thursday evening between 6 and 10, sing a song, have some food, have some drinky drinks, wind it down because the weekend is nearly here. I know it's only Monday and I'm already talking about the weekend. Yeah, parties. The Rab is still cleaning house for the next Friday. They closed down for 2 weeks, cleaning house. You can look at the Rab's page and Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill's page. That's I know I'm probably blending things here. All right, let me get done with the Cedar Lounge. Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill, 6 to 10 Thursday night karaoke jam. Come on out, Morrilton, Arkansas. Do it. All right. And then Friday night, I usually do the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, but they are closed this week. They've been closed for the past 2 weeks. They've been doing a little fall cleaning, I guess. Yeah, check the Rab's Facebook page for more information on that. Yes. I know I'm being vague, but I don't want to put their business on Front Street. They're just closed this Friday, so I won't be doing a show. But they assure me next Friday I will be back at the Rab. Exciting. Yeah, good times. And then Saturday night, I have a wedding. The only reason I mention it because I'm excited about weddings. I talked to the bride today, and she's excited about her wedding. And I'm excited for her, and I'm excited to see them, and I'm excited for the family, and it's going to be a good time. But if you're not invited to the wedding, you can't come. But the reason that I say it is because I'm stoked. I'm excited. Yes. All right. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Monday, November 16th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Trump says Biden won, but insists an election was rigged. President Trump on Sunday tweeted that President-elect Joe Biden, quote, won because the election was rigged, end quote. Trump's first acknowledgement that he lost the November 3rd election. An hour later, Trump walked back the comment in another tweet, quote, rigged election, we will win, end quote. The president wrote, quote, he only won in the eyes of the fake news media, all in caps. I concede nothing. We have a long way to go. This was a rigged election, end quote. The nation's news outlets have projected Biden the winner with 306 electoral votes to Trump's 232. Biden won the popular vote by more than 5 million. Numerous Republicans and former Trump administration officials have called on Trump to drop his unfounded allegations that Democrats stole the election through voter fraud. This is according to CNN and Politico. Number 2, U.S. coronavirus cases rise above 11 million. The number of U.S. coronavirus cases surpassed 11 million on Sunday as infections continued to skyrocket across the country. It took just 8 days for the country to add another million cases after the 10 million threshold was crossed, the fastest such jump since the pandemic began. It took 10 days to get from 9 million to 10 million and 16 days to reach 9 million from 8 million. The U.S. has now recorded more than 246,000 coronavirus deaths. The Midwest is the region with the most cases per capita. North Dakota became the latest state to require face coverings. Michigan and Washington on Sunday became the latest states to announce broad new restrictions on private gatherings and many businesses. Michigan ordered high schools and colleges to halt in-person classes. This is according to Reuters and the Associated Press. Number 3, Biden aide says lockdown would be last resort. One of President-elect Joe Biden's top coronavirus advisors said Sunday that a national lockdown of businesses and schools would be a, quote, measure of last resort, end quote, to fight the ongoing surge in COVID-19 cases across the United States. The number of infections has grown by 5% or more in 47 states in the past week, with a national average over the past week of 145,401 new cases per day. Quote, in the spring, we didn't know a lot about COVID. We responded, in a sense, with an on-off switch, end quote. Dr. Vivek Murthy, a former U.S. Surgeon General, tapped to help lead Biden's newly named COVID-19 task force, told Fox Sunday. Quote, we just shut things down because we didn't know exactly how this was spreading and where it was spreading, but we learned a lot more since then, end quote. This is according to CNBC. Number 4, Peru's interim president steps down after protests. Peru's interim president, Manuel Merino, stepped down on Sunday on his 6th day on the job, facing mounting protests. Merino, the former head of Congress, took power after legislators unexpectedly voted to remove popular President Martin Vizcarra. Quote, I present my irrevocable resignation, end quote, Merino said in a video address. Quote, I call for peace and unity of all Peruvians, end quote. Merino's departure left a power vacuum, plunging the South American country into a constitutional crisis as it wrestles with the coronavirus pandemic. Protesters insisted that if Congress is to pick the next president, lawmakers must choose someone who voted against impeachment. Quote, it can't be that the Congress that got us into the crisis gives us the solution, end quote, Vizcarra said Sunday. This is according to the New York Times. Number 5, Trump campaign drops part of Pennsylvania lawsuit. President Trump's campaign on Sunday dropped part of its lawsuit seeking to stop Pennsylvania from certifying its election results. Trump's lawyers revised their lawsuit by removing accusations that election officials unlawfully kept the campaign's observers from watching as votes were counted. The campaign had claimed that because of this, more than 600,000 votes cast in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia needed to be invalidated. Now the lawsuit focuses on an allegation that some Democratic-leaning counties unfairly let voters correct errors made on mail-in ballots, while GOP-leaning counties didn't. A Democratic Party attorney said, quote, just a handful of ballots, end quote, were affected, and this would have, quote, absolutely no impact, end quote, on a President-elect Joe Biden's 68,000 vote margin of victory in the state. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 6, Obama rules out post in Biden administration. Former President Barack Obama on Sunday ruled out working formally in President-elect Joe Biden's administration. Quote, I will help him in any ways that I can, but now you know I'm not planning to suddenly work on the White House staff or something, end quote. Obama told anchor Gayle King on CBS this morning. King responded, quote, no cabinet position for you, Mr. President, end quote. Obama replied, quote, there are probably some things I would not be doing because Michelle would leave me. She'd be like, what? You're doing what? End quote. Obama said there was, quote, no legal basis, end quote, for President Trump's claim that Biden won because of election fraud, and that he was confident that Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will take office in January as scheduled, despite Trump's refusal to concede. This is according to the New York Post. Number 7, sex abuse claims against Boy Scouts reached 82,663 as deadline arrives. The number of sex abuse claims against the Boy Scouts of America stood at 82,663 on Sunday, ahead of a Monday deadline established in Delaware in Delaware bankruptcy court. The cases against Scout leaders occurred over decades. The organization, established in 1910, sought refuge in the bankruptcy process this year, hoping to survive the demands for damages as the abuse cases piled up. Quote, the response we have seen from survivors has been gut-wrenching, end quote, the Boy Scouts of America said in the statement. Quote, we are deeply sorry, end quote. After the Monday deadline set by a judge, the cases will be vetted. The National Scouting Organization will set up a victims' compensation fund. The group has more than $1 billion in assets and a network of Boy Scout councils that own camps and other properties. This is according to the New York Times. Number 8, Hurricane Iota expected to hit Central America as Category 4 storm. Hurricane Iota strengthened rapidly on Sunday and neared Nicaragua and Honduras early Monday with top sustained winds of 145 miles per hour. Iota is expected to make landfall in the Central American nations as a potentially devastating Category 4 storm, the second to hit Nicaragua and Honduras in 2 weeks. Iota became the 30th named storm of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season on Friday. It is the 10th to intensify rapidly, with its top sustained winds increasing by 35 miles per hour within 24 hours. Forecasters said Iota could hit parts of Nicaragua or Honduras that were devastated when Hurricane Eta struck on November 3rd as a Category 4 storm. This would be the first time Nicaragua has been hit directly by 2 major hurricanes in the same year. Eta caused flooding and mudslides that killed 120 people. This is according to the National Hurricane Center and weather.com. Number 9, SpaceX launches a new era of space flight. SpaceX on Sunday launched a Falcon 9 rocket carrying the private space firm's Crew Dragon spacecraft, quote, Reliance, end quote, into orbit. It's first with a full crew. The mission, which followed a test flight earlier this year, made entrepreneur Elon Musk's SpaceX the first private company with a working system for sending astronauts into space and bringing them back. Crew Dragon's Resilience is carrying NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, and Japanese astronaut Soichi Noguchi. to the International Space Station. Crew Dragon is expected to dock late Monday. The mission is a landmark for NASA, which has had to rely on Russian spacecraft to get astronauts to the space station since the retirement of the Space Shuttle fleet in 2011. This is according to CNBC. Number 10. Dustin Johnson breaks a record in Masters win. Dustin Johnson won the Masters tournament at Augusta National in Georgia on Sunday, earning his first ever green jacket with a 4-under par 68 on the final day. That gave Johnson a record low 268 over the 4 days of play. Australia's Cameron Smith and South Korea's Sun Jae Im tied for second, but finished 5 strokes back. Johnson is one of the most talented golfers in the world, but the 36-year-old had only won one major golf championship, the 2016 U.S. Open, before Sunday's victory at Augusta. The win came after many close calls. Johnson finished in the top 10 of each of the last 4 Masters, including a tie for second in 2019. This is according to ESPN and the Associated Press. That's 10 things you need to know today for Monday, November 16th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. I'm Keys Dan, trying to fill my head with knowledge. Trying to make myself smarter. Keep up, you know. And if you'd like the sound of my voice, you could take the journey with me. I usually record these live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So you can find me there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I know they get curated in the mornings, but usually I don't get to do these until about 7:30 in the evening Central Time. You know, because work happens. Yes, after a long day, I'll read the news, get some current events in my head. But please don't make me the only source of news for you. Make sure you look up all the footnotes at the bottom of each news item that I read to you. And make sure that I'm saying the right thing. If you have any comments or concerns or anything to add, go ahead and leave me some comments. You can leave them on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Probably Facebook is the one I'll see the most, or the Twitch. Facebook or the Twitch. YouTube, I'll see them eventually. I know, you know what? YouTube gives me, whenever I go to YouTube, and I do go to YouTube at least once, twice, maybe 3 times a day, they give me little notifications that somebody left a comment. Now, I'll definitely get back to you. But if you'd like, you can always give me a call, 501-470-6386. If I don't answer, leave a message. Let me know what you're up to. Maybe I'll play that message on a future episode of What Makes You Smarter. Yeah. Make you a little famous. Hey, speaking of famous, if you'd like to check out my other podcast, hear the stories of others, or tell your own story, you can check out What Makes You Famous. You find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And the latest source of content that I've been slinging out there is my gaming, my streaming. Hey, online game streaming. You can find me you can find me on Facebook Gaming and Twitch using the hashtag KeysDanGaming. Yeah, make it simple. Hashtags. That's what the kids are using, right? Hashtags. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Oh yeah, I'll probably be doing some gaming pretty soon. Peace.